Hey everyone, Ben here, another episode of, actually the second episode of my Under the Hat vlog. Uh, so I'm trying to do this weekly, back up a little bit from doing the how-to videos, for you've seen enough of those. This is more about, me and my journey and trying to find success as an author and an illustrator. So, since last time since last time I posted a video, then you presumably watched it, or if you haven't watched it, I posted a video, so you can go check that out. Since that time, I've completed the first draft of the first act of the World Shaper Song, sequel to my book, The Bannerman's Blade. So with this, I was actually trying out an idea of writing multiple story arcs in one book. First book, that wasn't really an issue. The characters pretty much stuck together for the main part. Sometimes the story ventured off to follow one or the other, but they're all really still kind of working on the same arc. This time, the characters have split and gone off in different directions, so the story follows them. Not really knowing how to do that, I did what I normally do. I improvise, basically try to work instinctually as I can. And so with this, the approach I had taken was I looked at the story from the point of the different story arcs. Now I wrote one arc at a time, figuring out first how much attention is going to be given to each cluster of characters. This story is pretty well heavy on Donald and Talia's story. So the majority of the book, about, say, maybe close to between half and 2/3, somewhere in that neighborhood, is devoted to them. So of course they get the most attention. And so I broke this down, figuring out how many chapters I wanted to do. I'm aiming for 36 chapters in this book. And at the beginning, I figured, okay, out of that 36 chapters, I'm going to give Donald and Talia 20 chapters. I'm going to spend 10 chapters following Cray and Gale. 5 chapters is going to Keegan and Colden, which the last story, Bannerman's Blade, was pretty heavy on Keegan, and he's not really doing as much of interest in this book. Largely a lot of studying, library work, learning. So I'm not really following that journey as much. Whereas more is going on with Donald and Talia and Cray and Gale, so they get the lion's share of the focus. Next book, the focus will shift again, and I will adjust accordingly. But so the way I handled that was I listed out, on a sheet of paper, 1 to 36, and I'd broken the storylines down into, Donald and Talia, A, such and such, B, C, D, and going down. And I went through the breakdown, and I listed them out. Okay, A, B, C, A, B, and such. Figuring out the balance of story elements, which it's, like I said, was kind of an experimental thing. Figure out, see how it works, and if that didn't work out as well, I'd take the chapters I had written and I would manually rearrange them to best suit them. So anyway, long story short on that, I finished up the first act, which with that went, I'd written all of the Donald chapters in a row. Then I wrote all the Cray and Gale chapters in a row, then the Keegan chapters, at least for the first act. And as I went, I wrote the chapter, gave it a quick edit, plugged it into the overall book, move on to the next chapter, and so on and so on and so on, until I had the prologue in the first 13 chapters, which makes up the first act of the book. At that point, I printed them all out. I give it a combination read-through / second edit. Found some things I missed the first time, which can happen, because when you're staring at tens of thousands of words, you can miss stuff. It is going to happen. It happens in amateur, it happens in semi-professional, it even happens with the big dogs. So yeah, it's stuff is going to be in there. That's why it takes multiple read-throughs and multiple edits to really find everything. So, you know, edit as much as you can. I personally, to break it down and have less work for myself later on, will write a chapter, then edit it. Write a chapter, edit it. Then when I put them together, I go through with another edit, pass it on to my beta readers. If they see anything, I have them mark it down, or, you know, send me a message, hey Ben, you know, I paid such and such. I noticed this word was misspelled. It may have just been a typo that no, the correction didn't find because it's still a viable word, and so on. Or, you know, I don't think this part is clearly enough defining who is saying what, or no, the details here get a little hazy, and so they send this information back to me. I fix it. But anyway, kind of veering off topic a little bit. I gave the first read through, and I was really happy with how it turned out, especially for a process that I'm trying to figure out, you know, and balancing multiple story arcs in a single book. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with that. I have that already plotted out for the rest of the book. I'm going to continue on this course. Of course, you know, after I finish the second act, I'm going to go through and give it another. I'm going to go and give it a read through. Make sure that the order is still kind of staying strong. So yeah, anytime I need to, I can rearrange things just to make the story read better, flow better. Which, as an editor, it's the most important thing to consider. So yeah, whether no you write and edit yourself, or no, you're just an editor, or you're just the writer, you know, keep in mind that story flow is essential. If the story doesn't hook you from the beginning and flow well through the rest of it, you're going to lose your reader. That's just a fact. But aside from the writing news, I have a little bit going on with the art side of things. If you watched the last video, I talked about, you know, the frustration of seeing people pay more attention to work I do that's based on other people's characters than, you know, stuff I do based off my own work. And so I wrestled a little bit with the idea of possibly, you know, working along those lines. You know, just a little side hustle of selling shirts with other people's designs. I've been looking into that, and ultimately I don't want to do things in a way that's not on the up and up. So while I'm still going to roll out with this, I had actually gone and created a logo for it all, a name, which I'll unveil later as I get things more ready. But yeah, since I want to do everything, you know, legitimately, I'm going to start off with certain characters that are considered public domain now. No, classic figures, no, like Conan or Merlin or no Cthulhu, no, anything that's has been around long enough that it's not really, the copyrights aren't really owned by any certain person. So I can start off with that, and that is legally fine. Then I decided I want to work with other independent authors, ones that have gained a following. Of course, contact them, let them know what I'm doing, what I'm about, let them check out my work on my site, and then make an agreement with them to do T-shirts based off of their work. They'll of course get a royalty. After it'll be the whole permission royalty thing. So yeah, I don't want to step on anyone's toes with that. So I want to do all that completely legitimately. And so yeah, so I can carry shirts based on my artwork of their original characters, and so that way they can refer their fans to my site, so their fans can have merchandise with their stuff. They'll get a little bit of kickback, and as I do that, I want to also look into possibly getting permissions to do larger scale things. For example, if try doing something along the lines of maybe Robert Jordan's work, which there's a whole thing with that, getting permissions and getting officially licensed, but still the idea is to move up to that scale and get permission and the licensing and all of that to do characters from from those worlds too. So it's not just going to be, you know, public domain and independence. I also want to, you know, tackle the big stuff too. And of course, like I said, I'm going to unveil all this as I go. But I've been rambling on for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But that's what I've been up to this last week. I'm going to continue working on it. I'm kind of blocking out this week to not write, but to spend my time painting. So I'm gonna knock out a few paintings of some public domain characters like Conan, Merlin, probably King Arthur, just a few others. See what's gonna work, what's gonna be out there. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. This has been episode 2 of my vlog. All right, YouTube, have a great day. Catch you next time. Bye.